The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Good morning, San Joaquin, and welcome to another edition of Tales and Tips. And I am so honored to have with me, seated next to me today, Coleen Sykes Ray. And I just respect you so much. I'm so excited that you're here in the studio. And she is the founder of Bags of Hope. And she's going to talk to us today about this tremendous outreach that she has. And it really is an outreach. And it's not just helping people, providing them physical things, but there's also a religious aspect to it as well, and lots of love. So talk to us about this amazing labor of love that you started, that's a nonprofit, and what made you want to have Bags of Hope, and how did this come about?
Okay, so thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here sitting with you. I started Bags of Hope after having a trip to the Tahoe National Forest. And I was with a friend, and I thought I was going to go on a glamorous camping trip in a cabin, and it was not. It was not that. When we got there, I was so unprepared. I didn't have any of the supplies that I needed. And during our trip, my friend, she started her menstrual cycle. So one night we were talking because she was miserable. I was miserable. I was cold. She was cold and had cramps. And she said, I wonder what homeless people do when they're going through this. And we joked about it and was like, I don't know what they do. That's a good question. So I just remember coming home thinking, I have a place to go. I have a shower to come home to. I have a hot meal to come home to. But what do homeless women do when they don't have the supplies that they need? So I talked to my daughter about it, and she said, you know what, let's go and make some bags, Mom. So we made bags. We made like 5 bags because I didn't think that there was really a need for it. And we went down by the St. Mary's homeless shelter. And as soon as I parked my car, there was just an enormous amount of women who needed the supplies. So we decided from there that we were just going to start giving out the supplies.
And when was that? How long ago was that?
That was in September of 2016. So it was something that I know that I needed to do something. I just didn't know how to really get started. And that's actually how I met you. Because I know Laura Lucchesi, she was a really good friend of mine. And she basically taught me what I needed to do, what I didn't need to do, and about just being in the nonprofit world.
And she was an amazing humanitarian. She's gone almost 2 years now.
Yeah. But
yes, that's how we met. And I was amazed with what you were doing at the time. And I don't know at the time that you actually shared the story with me that you just said, but that's amazing. I respect that you took an experience where you were struggling and looked at, well, how can I use this and help others?
Right.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So when you talk about the need, talk to our viewers and our listeners about the need and how many women are out that you see in the streets and how often you're doing this.
So there is an enormous need, unfortunately, in our area because over the years that we've been doing it, the homeless population just among women has started to increase. So when we first started, we started with like maybe 15 to 20 bags. Now we're up to an average of 45 to 50 bags per month. We go out every 28 days because we try to make it like an average women's cycle. So every 28 days we'll go out. Depending on whether or not it falls on a Saturday, we'll move it to the 4th Saturday just to make sure that it's a consistent thing, that they know that we're coming.
And you're trying to give them nice purses as well when you're able to.
Yes. Well, what we do, we started out with handing out purses, but then we realized that the purses are nice, but they're filled with sanitary supplies. So we didn't want women to become targets. It is kind of dangerous when you're homeless and you have a nice purse. So usually what we try to do is make sure that if you're in shelter, then we'll give you a handbag. If you're unsheltered, like living in a car or on the street in a tent, then we'll give you just one of our regular handbags. And that's just a reusable type of grocery bag, just so that you don't becoming a target for people to rob you and then find that there are only sanitary napkins or, hygiene items in your purse.
Well, and it's interesting to hear that you mentioned that. And I remember when you were doing the purses, and the women love it because it's
Right.
something that makes them feel valued, but at the same time, you've learned and you don't want them to be a target, and that makes sense. You have a wonderful display on the table about some of the items
Yes.
that you have in there. The one thing you didn't mention is the note, and I want you to talk about
Yes.
the note and what it says and how you make that personal or from the heart.
So because this is a ministry first for me, I really want women to know that God hasn't forgotten them. We may be giving them a bag of sanitary supplies, but it is a ministry, and it's something that even though I'm giving you something, I want you to know that I'm giving it to you from the heart. I'm giving it to you for a reason because God put it on my heart to do it. So inside every bag that we have is a card that says, "For with God, nothing shall be impossible." And that's Luke 1:37. And we handwrite every card. And inside the card is one of my favorite quotes by C.S. Lewis. And it says, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." So I just want people to know that even though you're in the situation that you're in, today you may be living on the street. Yes, you may be in a tent. You may not have the things that you used to have or things that you want to have, but tomorrow will be a better day. And your prayers are being answered, because a lot of women that we come in contact with, they say, "Oh, I was just praying because I needed help." And so that to me lets me know that that's an answered prayer when we show up.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. And I love that you're handwriting them. I mean, we were talking earlier, you could have them printed, but to
Right.
me, the fact that you're taking the time to handwrite the notes, I think that means something to the person that receives it.
Yes, it does. They always give us hugs. They always, some of them call me Mom, Miss Coleen. But we let them know that we care about them and that we want to see them get better, get an improved living situation. We want to see them be self-sufficient. We just don't want to hand them a bag and then disappear out of their lives.
And I was going to ask you, so how many of the women do you think are repeat clients that you're seeing month after month?
We have repeat clients. I want to say on average about 30% of them are repeat clients. Some of them are in a situation where they're comfortable, and so they are not willing to go indoors. That's one thing that we ask them, are you ready to come in? And some of them will say, yes, we're ready to come in. Some of them will say no. We do meet women who have mental health issues. We have women that have substance abuse issues. We have women that are, unfortunately, been trafficked. And so they've been dropped here. And some of them are at the ages where they don't know that they actually don't live that far. We have one young lady where she was trafficked from Oakland. And when she said that she was dropped here from Oakland, I let her know, hey, that's only about 45 minutes to an hour away. And she had no idea that she was only 45 minutes to an hour away from home. So we do run into situations where we have women that are hiding for domestic violence situations. And then, of course, we have women who they just feel like living in the tent is something that they want to do. They don't believe in paying, bills or, things of that nature.
Do you give them any kind of card that has a list of local social resources that they can access?
Yes, we do have a contact sheet that we have, and it is filled with resources and our partners that are throughout the city. We often refer them to Stockton 209 Cares because they do a lot of work with getting women into shelters.
Awesome.
We refer them to the women's shelter, the family shelters. We have a few people that will actually take you in. We have some churches that we partnered with.
Wonderful. And there's 411.
Yes.
The 24-hour hotline that they can at least try to connect with a wide variety of social services.
Yes. And we are excited. I just talked to an individual from Family Promise. So Family Promise is something that we're really excited about because they're trying to get families together so that they can stop going from place to place.
Great.
And have a consistent living situation.
Wonderful. And I was glad to hear that you're partnering with other nonprofits
Yes.
in our community, because definitely together we can do more, and there's no one organization that can
Right.
meet everyone's needs. We need to work together. Such a complicated issue. You
Right.
alluded earlier that some people may be suffering from violence or drug addiction. Maybe someone's lost their job. Maybe someone's lost their home. Maybe someone's lost the breadwinner in the family.
Right. Yes.
We actually just had our countywide homeless point-in-time count. Right. And this year, the numbers, they're not fully reported yet, but they've increased significantly, potentially almost double. And we're not sure how much of that is we're doing a better job of counting people, because there was a much more aggressive outreach and a lot of people participated and helped this year. And we don't know how much of it is that and how much of it is that the numbers have just increased.
I believe the numbers have increased. I did also participate in the unsheltered homeless count. And I know that just being out there and seeing some of the regulars that we come in contact with, there are new faces, and it has, unfortunately, a lot to do with the rising rent that we have here in Stockton. Some people just can't afford to pay the rent, so they're living in their cars, and
people are working
surfing.
and living in their cars.
They're couch surfing, and it's not that they're lazy. That is a stigma. That is a myth. I shared my story not too long ago. My rent recently increased over $400.
Wow.
And
that's a lot.
Unfortunately, it's not something that I can afford to pay, but it's by God's grace that I'm able to keep making it month to month. So I don't fit the description of someone who is having a substance abuse issue or mental health or anything like that. I work hard every day, multiple jobs, but I can't afford to pay my own rent. I'm literally in the same situation as other people that we come in contact with on a daily basis.
And there's not a lot of housing in our area that's at a reasonable cost. That's actually something that our task force has said is the number one reason that we have homelessness, is that housing is so expensive.
It is.
And it's not just your story. A huge percentage of people are working. I know Carmen is working, your sister is working multiple jobs. Many people are working long hours, multiple jobs. And it makes it very challenging when rents are high. And then on top of rent, you have the other expenses, your car, your phone, and what have you.
And then you also have to look at it where not too many people in the area, or I want to say just in the valley, they don't have that savings where if something were to happen to, say, your spouse,
there's no cushion.
There's no cushion. So they can't afford to save money here. And that's unfortunately our wages haven't increased, but the rent has. And so it's impossible for us to keep up.
Well, and we're also right next to the Bay Area, and there was just an article in the newspaper where the average rent in the Bay Area is now something like $4,000 a month, which is outrageous. And yes, we're not at that level, but the jobs in this area don't pay what the Bay Area jobs pay either.
Right. And so we have a lot of Bay Area people that are living here but aren't working here, so they're not contributing to our economy. Sometimes, they'll work here and then they, not work here, I'm sorry, they'll live here, but they won't work or shop here. And so that makes it very hard for people who are actually Stockton residents. So.
Yeah, no, there's lots of challenges. And there are a percentage of people, like you mentioned, that are happy in the situation that they are. They don't want to conform to what's considered being a part of the society, but that percentage is a dwindling number.
Right, that is correct.
But it's unfortunate also that once you end up on the street, even if you don't start out with a drug addiction, it's pretty common to start because it's all around you, and it's depressing.
And it's very difficult, like once you are in a situation of being homeless, to come up with the funds to meet first and last month's rent. So it's almost like you're in a never-ending cycle where you can't seem to get out. I know one lady that we've been following for 8 months. She was on the street, and we were able to finally get her some help through Valley Mountain Regional.
Awesome.
She's high functioning. She does have some mental health issues, but now she is very stable. She's been in her own place, living on her own. She keeps in contact with us. She calls us whenever she needs help. She's enrolled into Delta. She's actually going to church now. And so it's something that we're really proud of when we get success stories. So it's possible. I don't want people to think that if you're on the street or you're homeless or you're living in your car, that it's impossible to pull yourself up. It is possible, but you have to be determined and you have to be willing to do it.
And you can't give up. And that's why what you're doing is so important, because you're giving hope to people. And yes, you're giving them a bag of supplies, but you're also giving them access to resources.
Right.
And you're trying to motivate them that it can be better.
Yes,
which is phenomenal.
That's one thing that we want to definitely make sure that we emphasize when we come in contact with them, is that, today is not a good day because you're living on the street, but we want to put a smile on your face, and usually the chocolate is what puts a smile on a lot of women's faces. Sometimes we'll have chapstick or a nice lotion. It just depends on the type of donations that we get, and they're very happy, because when you're on your menstrual cycle, it is already difficult and emotionally draining when you're homeless. And then you have the impact of being on your cycle, and that's affecting your hormones. It's affecting everything.
And you don't feel clean.
And you don't feel clean at all. And that's one thing that we want to let them know is, hey, you can clean yourself up. We've given you the wipes. We're giving you the hand sanitizer. We're giving you the tools so that you can clean yourself up. And not have to worry about having stained clothes or walking around not being able to get up. And a lot of women that we come in contact with, they don't have socks. And so that's one thing that we started to add to our bags is socks, because throughout the research that I've done is socks is so important. I remember calling the hospital and I said, why do you give out socks? That's the first thing that they give to you when you're admitted, is they give you a pair of socks. And I said, well, why is that? And they said, well, socks, they make sure that your whole body stays warm. And so if your whole body isn't warm because your feet are uncovered, the impact that it has on just
your overall
wellness, your cramps are increased, you have more headaches. And so we are trying to make sure that we meet every single need.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. So you mentioned donations. Let's go back and talk about, how are you funded? Who's helping you? How can the community help you? And then I want to come back full circle to something we mentioned about being clean in just a minute.
No problem. So right now we are completely surviving off of donations. Bags of Hope is a nonprofit organization. We are 501c3 certified. And we do a Facebook blast like every month, every 28 days. My daughter jokes with me all the time because she says, Mom, you've become a professional beggar.
But it's not for you, it's for other people.
It's
so
not for me.
It's okay.
It's not for me. And so she's with me every weekend, and every time she tries to
kudos to her
make
too.
Ideas on how we can get more funds in. So we do have a lot of sponsors. PG&E is one of them. Like they are consistent with us, and we do have a lot of church organizations that give us money from time to time.
Do you want to name whoever you want to give a shout out?
Victory and Praise is one church that has really supported us. They have, from day one, they have always decided, you know, this is a mission that they want to get behind. And so whenever we need something, we can give them a call and they are there. Like, they make sure that we not only have monetary donations, but we have supplies as well. And just recently we went out and we needed supplies, and they stepped in and say, hey, we can get some supplies for you. And so that makes it easier when we are trying to serve more women, because again, like I said, it's increasing every time we go out. There's more women. We run out of bags sometimes, and so people, they send us donations through our Facebook app. We also have our PayPal app. On our website, you can click a donate button and donate, and it can $15 is all it takes to make one bag for one woman. So that's how we get our donations.
That's awesome. And if you can buy in volume, then that amount of money can go further too.
Right. Yes.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and let's mention, what's your website? What's your Facebook page?
The Facebook page is Facebook, and it's / Bags of Hope Stockton. And our website is www.bagsofhopestockton.com. We do have an Instagram page, so you can go online and see the pictures of what we're doing in the community.
And Carmen just did a beautiful portfolio of pictures. Carmen Slaughter, so talented.
We are very blessed to have her, because every time we go out, it's important to showcase what we're doing. I know a lot of people tend to shy away from taking pictures, but it's important for us to show a real picture of what's going on in our community.
People need to know what's going on.
If it's hidden, then we can't change it. And so
and you need more help too. And to me, yes, you're highlighting what you're doing, but you're doing it so that you can expand and help more people.
Right. Correct. Yes.
No, it's wonderful. And the photos that she showed recently of an outreach were wonderful. And I'm sure that all of the women that you help are grateful. They may not tell you this, but you have to know that what you're doing is having a huge impact.
Yes. We do get some calls, because we have an 800 number, and we do get calls from time to time. And recently, especially after we had the story and the Stockton Record, we had some women to reach out to us, and they're not low income. They're just people who are struggling.
They're struggling.
Paying their rent.
Anyone could be struggling. You lose one paycheck, 2 paychecks, you could be struggling.
And we recently had a message from a young woman who said, you know, I'm not low income and I'm not homeless, but I could really use a bag. And so, we make bags, and we will take it to you.
What's your 800 number?
It's 888-999-2952.
And what about fundraisers? Are you planning any fundraising events?
Yes, we do have our annual fundraiser that we do every year, which is our Kentucky Derby dinner. And it is, if you're familiar with Kentucky Derby, it's all about the food, the fashion, the big hats.
Yes,
and so it's
definitely
centered,
the big hats.
Yes, it's centered around there.
And the horses.
And we have lots of fun. We try not to include the horses, but it's more centered around a theme. So last year it was Race for the Reward.
Aww.
This year it is Hats for Hope. And so if you want to come out May 4th, we haven't set a time yet for it, but May 4th is the date for Kentucky Derby. You can wear your big hat. You can have a nice dinner. You can help us fundraise. That's where we give out our scholarship. We give one woman a scholarship.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Tell us about the scholarship.
Yes,
that's awesome.
We give one woman a scholarship every year. Last year, we gave one scholarship, and it was for a young woman who had basically pulled herself up and was now self-sufficient. So the women that we help, we stay in contact with them. And if you're doing really well, there is an incentive. That's
awesome.
And so last year we gave out that award. And this year we also have the Marianne Hangs Heart of Service Award. And Christina Fugazi was the one who actually presented that award last year to my daughter. Aww. Because she had completed over 500 hours of
Wow.
community service.
That's
I don't
huge.
know.
And how old is she?
She's 15 now, but last year she
Wow.
was 14. She gives up every single weekend.
That's amazing.
Every-
I don't know of any teenager
I don't either.
doing anything
I
close
don't
to
either.
that.
And I always tell her, I said, Jordan, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go hang out with your friends? She's like, no, I have things to do with you, Mom. I'm like, okay.
Well, and
Yeah.
what's wonderful to me about that is not only have you taught her how to pay it forward and how important it is to give back, but it also enhances the bond between you and her.
Right.
And it's a way that you know what's going on in her life,
Right.
that you know that she's not going astray.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great
Yeah.
thing to me on many levels.
Yeah, she's really proud. We made her our demographic girl. So she has her clipboard and she has a form that she helped create, and she gets the demographics, and she's not, and I think the women appreciate that because it's not
threatening.
it's non-threatening, and she smiles and she's very polite. She's like, can I get your first name and where you're living? And at first, it's hard to get someone's address, and so they'll
I
usually give
understand.
us a building or a location. They'll say, I'm at the waterfront, and so she'll write she's at the waterfront, and we get their age and their race because we want to keep track of exactly who we're serving.
That's great.
And we also ask them important questions like, do you have a heavy flow or a light flow? Because we do have different bags. We can give you a bag that is for a heavy flow or a light flow, and we have started to see a lot of women who are elderly. And so now we give out bags for women who are elderly that have incontinence supplies in them.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That's amazing. So you have, in the few years that you've been doing this, you've modified what you're doing based on the
Yes.
need.
Yes.
And it sounds like you're learning also a lot of really important information
Yes.
on the homeless in our area. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's beautiful. Earlier, before we started our show today, I was asking you about Showered with Love.
Yes.
And I'm excited because you said you're going to be partnering with them. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Mary Gerard and Kelly Hanish. And they were both here in the studio a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And they're getting closer and closer to having their mobile shower ready. And to me, that ties in so well
Right.
with what you're doing. And we talked about the importance of feeling clean.
Right.
So how did that collaboration come about?
Well, I was so thrilled to get a call from Showered with Love, and Mary is so awesome.
Lots of enthusiasm. I love it.
She's
She does.
so awesome. Like she has a heart for the homeless. This job is not for everyone, but she's amazing. Like, they both are amazing. And when she told me about what they do in the community, I was really excited to meet up with them because I'm like, that is perfect. Right now, the women that we serve, they don't have access to bathrooms. And so they're not able to go in and, use the sink or use any type of facilities to clean themselves up. So Showered with Love is amazing. Like, they're going to be able to provide hot showers to women in our area or to any homeless person in our area. And it ties
At different
perfectly,
locations.
right?
Yes, it ties perfectly.
Ties perfectly with Bags of Hope because we're giving the sanitary supplies. And what's one thing that you want to do when you're on your cycle, and that's have a hot shower. It relieves so much and it helps, ease so much. And so a hot shower with clean products, clean underwear, warm towels, that's going to be awesome. And I know I'm believing God for them. I told them that their goal to meet is going to be met. Like,
Oh, definitely.
that
There's so
mobile-
many
yeah.
supporters. And you mentioned Christina Fugazi, and we should give a shout out to Councilwoman Fugazi.
Yes.
And I know that she is very excited about Showers with Love as
Yes.
well as Bags of
Yes.
Hope, and is really active in helping to improve things for the homeless in our community.
Christina Fugazi is amazing. Like, she has supported us since day one. Like, she's always come to our events. I can give her a call or shoot her an email, and she says no problem every single time.
Awesome.
And she shows up. She's given us donations. She's given us supplies. And so Christina is always in the community. And sometimes I'm like, do you sleep?
So let's go ahead once again and give your website and your Facebook. And if you want to maybe talk about specific items that you want
Okay.
people to donate.
Okay, so our website is www.bagsofhopestockton.com, and our Facebook page is Facebook/Bags of Hope. We also have the Instagram, which is at Bags of Hope Stockton, and then we have our 800 number that anyone can call. It doesn't matter if you're low income or homeless. Any woman can call if they need supplies, and that telephone number is 888-999-2952. The items that we really need to have are items that we run out of most often, and that is our feminine wipes, the feminine wash. We run out of the lotion, the chapstick. We run out of our granola bars because we try to make sure that we're giving them enough granola bars that have chocolate on them and peanut butter, because it's, peanut butter is self-sustainable, and then the chocolate is something sweet. So we run out of those items quickly. We have the socks. We're in need of socks actually as well. So any of those items can be hand delivered to our mailbox or mailed to our mailbox, which is at 2339 West Hammer Lane, and that's Suite C, Box 240 in Stockton, California.
And someone can also reach you by messaging through Facebook
Yes,
as well.
Absolutely.
Yes,
you can also message me through Facebook.
Wonderful. Awesome. And so what would you say on average each month, how many pads are you supplying? And you're probably, I don't see tampons on here, but I'm sure you're supplying tampons
yes.
also. So in a month,
Yes.
can you talk about how many pads and tampons you're distributing?
So in a month's time, I want to say it's about 500. We try to give them enough so that they're meeting a 3 to 5 day cycle. So in our bags, if you're having a heavier cycle, then we try to give you about 15 15 pads. If you have a lighter cycle, then we give you tampons. Normally, some of the women don't request for tampons. The pads are something that we see go faster.
Okay.
So it's about 500.
Awesome. And in the time since 2016, how many women do you think you've reached out to?
Oh, my goodness.
And I know you've got some repeat, but just a general number.
Oh, my goodness. Well, on average, I want to say that we have serviced, I want to say maybe 800 women.
Wow.
A year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
It is the numbers. We want to see the numbers go down.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to see the numbers go down, but every year the numbers have increased. So I hate to say the number because it gets larger.
No, but it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's to me the fact that you are reaching out and helping that many people and trying to give them hope to move up and out of their situation. I love that you're giving them access to resources as well, and that this is a ministry. It's not just taking care of one need. It's trying to help with all needs,
Right.
which is beautiful.
And we also believe in a good friend of mine, Tashante McCoy.
I know her
She
too.
always
My
says-
fellow Leadership Stockton cohort.
Right. She always says that it is collaboration over competition. And so we don't go out alone. Whenever you see Bags of Hope, we're not by ourselves. We go out and we partner with other organizations
That's
because
great.
we want to be able to provide a one-stop shop
Yes.
for women. So
And let's name some other organizations.
So, for instance, when you come out and you see Bags of Hope, you're also going to see True Connect. And True Connect are the free phones. So what they do is they'll sign you up for a free phone, and then they'll program our number.
Oh,
in the phone
perfect.
So that they're
So
able they have
a
to have
resource.
They are able to have our
Great.
telephone number.
Wonderful.
And they have a free phone. And then we also partner with Victory and Praise Church, and they have Bridging the Gap. And Bridging the Gap, they provide hot meals. They provide a clothes closet, mobile haircuts. We partner with
Awesome.
209 Cares, and they provide just awesome things. We actually have a youth event with them coming up
Awesome.
March 24th.
Sometimes they do haircuts
Yes,
too.
they do mobile haircuts. They also feed your pets because a lot of
All right.
a lot of homeless people, they have their pets with them and their pets are hungry. So they make sure that the pets are taken care
That's
of
awesome. That's great that they're doing that. That's awesome. And I love that you said that it's about collaboration.
too. Yes. We want to be able to not compete with other organizations. We need to work together.
We're not going to solve this by competing.
We're not going to solve it individually.
It's about coming together.
Right. Right. There are other organizations like Under the Bridge Ministries, and they actually provide a worship service, and they will set up their tent, they'll set up their band, they'll set up tables and chairs, and you can just come out and have a whole worship service for the homeless.
That's awesome. And Tashante has had prayer in the park before with the OWL movement, and is it Angel Mothers?
Yes. Yes, they also participate, and it's just wonderful to be able to come together as a city because we can't do things individually. We have to work together as a city to solve it.
Definitely, definitely. Anything else? I know we've covered a lot. Anything else that you'd like to add before we close?
Well, we are trying to get a space for Bags of Hope. Bags of Hope right now is ran out of my home. And I've taken up every single closet, the garage. My husband, he sometimes when we're getting ready for distribution, he'll walk in the living room and he'll say, "What is going on here?"
It's like a tornado.
So we have pads and tampons and socks and wipes everywhere. So we really are in desperate need of a space just so that we can operate out of. It is our goal to
or maybe even for storage too.
Right. Even for storage, just so that every woman's period it doesn't come at the same time. So because we're only going out every 4th, it makes it kind of hard to get some of the women who may be on their cycle and unable to walk or unable to ride their bike. Some of you know, on your cycle, you don't want to move. You don't want to get up. And if you're cold, you're not going to come out. It is, we do deliver, but that is kind of difficult. So it'd be better if we had a space to operate out of.
That people could come to.
That they could come to us.
And then it could be at different times throughout the month.
Right.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, we'll pray and hopefully maybe one of our listeners or viewers out there has a space available, even if it's just for storage. But it would be wonderful if you had a shingle, an area to put up your shingle that you could operate out of. And so that would be amazing to see that happen. Well, I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you for the amazing work that you're doing to help so many in our community.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, I'm going to sign off. I am the voice of San Joaquin. You are the voice of San Joaquin. We are the voice of San Joaquin. Let's make it a great day.